What up guys, Fojo here, and today we're going to be talking about name drops, how they've changed since the update, as well as if there are changes to drop rates, and what you're going to be receiving as drops from mobs. But real quick, if you guys could like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would truly appreciate that. Leave a comment if you've noticed a little bit of a change in the drop rates, or a change in name drops, let me know. For a long time in New World, name drops were something that was more difficult to get your hands on. You had to farm for quite a while to receive certain drops, especially if you wanted them to be 590 plus. For a long time, some of the name drops wouldn't even land above 550, and eventually they updated it to where they would usually land above 590 or above 580, and you still had to farm it out until you found that 590 plus and upgrade it to where you could use it. But now it looks like they've changed it completely to where 590 pluses aren't a thing anymore. It's just a 590 across the board. So if you get a name drop, you will have it at 590. You don't have to farm it until it is a 590 or above that. It will simply be that now. So if the mob is 63 or above, you are guaranteed to get that 590 instead of having to farm it for hours in order to possibly get that one item at the level you were looking to get it at. Now, I will say at the end of this that this does change the way that farming mobs and drops works a little bit, because you no longer have to spend a ton of time somewhere looking for an item. It may take a few hours still to find a certain item you're looking for, but it has changed it to where once you do find that item, you no longer have to hope it's at a certain level or it's the one you need, because it'll simply be at 590 and be usable for you. I also wanted to make sure this wasn't a brimstone area thing to where it's all 590s in this area, so I went and tested mobs in different areas and made sure that there were also drops coming from them that were 590, and wanted to make sure that that was throughout all of New World, not just Brimstone. So in dungeons, I've received 590s. I've received 590s from mobs as well as from chests. So it seems that the 590 thing is pretty consistent throughout New World, all over the place, and throughout most players. From what I've seen, everybody's told me 590s as well. And now this is only for mobs that are above 63 or at 63, so you will still be getting drops from those same mobs, but you will be receiving them at 590 exactly. Now, say you were a level 55 and were in a group and killed a level 63 mob. Will it still drop a 590 item? I haven't tested that yet, but my guess would be yes. It seems as though they're only dropping at 590 from what I've seen, which makes named items much more useful. It means that no matter what you get for a drop as a named item, you can upgrade it and make it a legendary item instead of farming for it until it was a 590 plus. Like before, you would get 580s, 570s, and you would be constantly farming to get a 590 drop in order to use it. But along with that, it would seem that drop rates have either become more consistent or they've changed somewhat to drop more. I have noticed that with both drop rates on mobs and on chests, that I've been seeing a lot more drops for named items and trophy mats, more expensive pieces of furniture. So I think that they may have tweaked the drop rates, or maybe they tweaked the luck system a little bit and made it work a little better. Not entirely sure. I'll be doing some testing here pretty soon in the next few weeks to figure out if the drop rates are better, if they've changed all that much, or if I've just been getting lucky. So I will have those tests going in the next week or so to find out and compare them to the tests I've done pre-update and see if the numbers have changed at all or if they're similar. It would also seem that different versions of the same weapons are now in the market together. So pre-Brimstone weapons are technically different weapons from their new counterparts at 590. So you have two different types of weapons in the market that are the same weapon, but just one's the new version, one's the old version. So there probably are some scattered weapons throughout there that are older versions of these weapons that are out there, and some will be higher than 590, some won't. It looks like now you are just no longer able to get the lower ones, but if your expertise may be lower, maybe you can actually get some of the lower ones. I'm not totally sure on that yet. Maybe if your weapon expertise for that certain weapon isn't that high yet, you can get a lower version. But from what I've seen, it looks like it's just 590 across the board at this point. It'll be interesting to see how many of the older weapons are still around. It looks like the new one is selling for a lot more than the old one, even though there is a version of the same weapon, but at a higher level. I just thought it was interesting to see that the new weapon is technically a different weapon than the old weapon, even though it has a different gear score or expertise to it. Just keep an eye on things when you buy them also, because this one is technically 1500 cheaper than the other one, so you could save some money by buying the old version of the weapon if it's around still, or if somebody happens to have it. But the major thing to take away from this is that 590 plus name drops are great, and it makes it much easier to farm for a piece of armor or weapon that you need or that you want. Will make it very viable to go and farm, because you're not farming for something that you could get a drop of and it could be useless to you. Now it will definitely be useful and will function the way it needs to. Now I have not tested this for the level 55s or lower levels that will be farming these, and I've also not tested that if your expertise or gear score has anything to do with the level of drops you're getting. That could be possible too, but that would seem like a little bit overkill. So I would think that these 590 items are probably, for most people, if not everybody, will be making it much easier to get the pieces of equipment you want and need, making farming mobs much more viable and easier to do than it used to be. You don't have to spend hours and hours looking for one piece of equipment. It seems like it drops fairly quickly, and you can sit there and farm for 10 to 15 minutes or an hour and still get the item you're looking for, instead of sitting there for hours on end looking for an item that may never show up. But I will retest luck and a few other things and see if they are having a factor in here, or if it's just all working out to be 590 plus. I think it's a great change to drops. It will be much more viable for people to go get the things they need and want, and is a great update to the way drops work. So I'm very happy with the devs and New World for making that change. That's amazing. And it's a good change that's been needed for a while now. So thank you to them for doing that. That's amazing. But I think it's a great change. Leave a comment if you think it's a bad change, or if you haven't been seeing the 590s. Love to know that and see if there's any difference amongst players. Everybody I've checked with so far is 590s. But thank you guys so much for listening to me talk about name drops for a little bit. If you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would truly appreciate that. And if you could also hit the bell, it'll let you know when new videos drop and new content comes out. But we'll have more videos out soon. I hope to see you there.